Good morning, how you guys doing? This Mike back with the thought of the day, November 6, 2025. First, I want to give honor and praise to Ahaya Shua Ahaya Bahashim Yeshai Rawakadash, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit in Hebrew. Down like to open with the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. May your will, not mine, be done. Today I want to talk about the powerful podcast I had last night with my childhood friend Terrill Paul. And Terrell's podcast was powerful from my aspect, from my point of view, because of the vulnerability and willingness that he was willing to talk about difficult topics, man. The brother was vulnerable from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? He touched on some powerful topics. Some of them were the statutory rape situation he was in when he was young, in his late teens, his parents' substance abuse issues, his substance abuse issues, him drinking ever since elementary school. He talked about homelessness and living in despair. He talked about yearning for the love of his parents, especially the love of his father, man. That's deep, man. It was deep for a man to open up like that, man. You know what I'm saying? He talked about being in a marriage that didn't work. Talked about being in a marriage that failed, man. He talked about getting exposure once he left out of Trenton and was able to see something else. You know what I'm saying? He talked about not feeling adequate for his new wife. Once he got with her, he didn't feel adequate, like he was enough, man. He talked about having to open up and tell everything he went through to his new wife and her father. You know how difficult that had to be. You know how humbling that probably had to be when you see some people living a certain way, and then you got to open up to them and let them know how you was really living, and then really feel that you just want to be accepted. That's powerful for that brother to talk about this last night, man. And the reason I say that it was powerful because his testimony last night is going to be able to help so many other people that view this podcast. And he took the power away from Satan. See, a lot of those topics that he talked about last night that he was vulnerable enough to open up about are the same things that Satan keep a lot of men stronghold about, man. He keep them in bondage with those same topics that Terrill was talking about last night. And he was strong enough and had enough wisdom to understand, if I put this out there and I talk about it openly, it takes the bondage away from Satan. Like, Satan cannot have that stronghold on me, because we only as sick as our secrets. And that brother opened up last night and talked about some things and shed some tears. It was a very, very powerful podcast. And I will be putting up clips, and I hope you guys, especially the men, man, and women too, because you might have brothers, husbands, sons that you could pass that podcast to, and they could be able to develop that courage to open up and talk about some of those things so they could be free, man. That brother showed that a demonstration on how to be free from the bondage of Satan and being able to talk about things that a lot of us don't like to talk about as men. This is Mike. Enjoy the rest of your day. Shalom.